Guys, who doesn't love a good underdog story? In esports, as with all things, it's hard not to root for the David over the Goliath. That's why this week we're bringing you the top 10 underdog moments in CSGO. Now guys, when I say underdog moments, I'm not talking about clutch plays here. I'm talking about when a dark horse team goes on an improbable tournament run. I'm talking about when the upstarts take down the favorites. As for how we ranked the list, well, we looked at the obstacles in each team's way. We looked at how deep their run went, and yes, we looked at their effect on CSGO history. So without further bullshit, let's get into it with the top 10 underdog moments in CSGO.
Simple just jumping casually into the side. He's going to fall down again. What is this clutch from Simple? Are you serious? What is that? You can't do that, Simple. That's not allowed. This is not FPL. This is a major.
Team Liquid themselves put it best. Rarely are the Liquid boys a favorite, but they can never be ruled out. Kicking off this list, we have Liquid's iconic run at ESL1 Cologne 2016, where they made history by becoming the first North American team to reach a major grand final.
Team Liquid will eliminate Fnatic. They will be playing in a grand final against SK. What the hell just happened?
Headed into the tournament, some doubted their chances of even making it to playoffs, but Liquid never stopped believing.
You want to hope for Liquid in the underdog chance. Okay, we have seen underdogs beat Na'Vi. With that said though, still very rarely that Na'Vi lose a full best-of-3 series.
Oh, Nitro, his presence known it long, and Guardian's aware of it. That's the chance to advance elsewhere for Nitro. Man, oh man, what a round to pull this back, and Liquid are going to the semifinals.
If Liquid lose this round, they are in a lot of trouble. ELEAGUE in a sneaky position, and now JDM is delivering. He needs to find one more. One might be enough. If ELEAGUE can get 2 frags here, he can. The team has spread out. Make that 3. ELEAGUE a touchdown on the beat side for Liquid.
A team who have already made history by becoming the first ever North American team to reach a major final. But the big question on their shoulders right now is, can they end 10 years of waiting for a North American major championship?
In the first ever America's only major final, the boys in blue were once again the underdogs, and it was here that SK Gaming put an end to the dream.
Easy for SK to pick it up here. They're trying to walk through the smoke, but it's just not going to happen. SK Gaming, second major championship in a row. They are your winners.
But which do you remember? The loss or the run itself?
North Americans did so well to get to this point.
From Simple's immortalized heavenly play to JDM's ace, Liquid showed the world why one should never count them out.
And it's a 2-man advantage. TyLoo make it now a 3-man finish. He's got to get one more back. He's got to rise from the ashes like the Phoenix that he claims to be, but he's caught in the open. And TyLoo, they'll shock not only Liquid, but wake up world, because the major champions have just lost to China.
CSGO wasn't exactly the shooter of choice for China back in 2016, and as a result, the region was never really part of the conversation in the world of professional CSGO. Coming in at number 9, we have TyLoo, who were one of the first Chinese teams to fully transition to the game, making their international debut at DreamHack Masters Malmo 2016. After an unimpressive showing against Luminosity Gaming, TyLoo were able to take out Team Liquid to stay alive in the group stage.
Fancy's gonna go, he's gonna catch them off the bench. Slow movement speed, Simple's down. One shot from Nitro again, but he's on 50, and this time he can't play the hero, and it's gone. Liquid falls. The semi-finalists from the major lose to TyLoo.
In the decider match for their group, what should have been an easy 2-0 for LG turned into a slugfest.
The decoy, not a flash, and somebody's flanked it. TyLoo's got map 1 against LG.
Who would have thought? TyLoo, the complete underdogs of this tournament, just taking the first map in the best of 3 against Luminosity Gaming here.
TyLoo showed they didn't just come to play, they came to win, going all the way to eliminate LG from the tournament.
And that's it, the major champions being knocked out by one of the biggest underdogs of this tournament. No one had actually expected them to even get out of the group stages, let alone to be knocking these guys out. That's absolutely nuts.
Like mind-blowing. Everything about this match was going the way of LG. The desk said the same. There's no way we could have predicted it.
And despite losing in the first round of the playoffs, TyLoo put China on the map and shocked the world with one of the biggest upsets in CSGO history.
nade gonna be absolutely perfect. And MSL to follow it up. They got him flash, but he's still getting the kills. Looking with the pistol a little bit more, and there it is, triple kill.
Team Dignitas may have been contenders, but were certainly not favorites to win EPICENTER 2016. Still, they held their own in the round-robin group stage, tying all 3 matches to make it out over NIP via round differential. For our number 8 spot, we have Dignitas' epic run in Moscow at EPICENTER. After dropping the first map to a struggling Fnatic, Dig's playoff run looked fated to end right there and then.
Fnatic camping it and watching exactly where you're coming from. No hope at all for Dignitas in the end.
But the Danish team was able to turn things around, moving on to take out Na'Vi in 3 maps to meet Virtus Pro in the grand final.
I don't want to call it early, but I feel like this crowd is going to be on VP's side, Samler. We're seeing a lot of Virtus Pro signs.
Dig came back after being down 0-1, putting a stop to a then surging Polish plow in dominating fashion.
The biggest victory today for this team. Amazing play.
Needless to say, it was a result and a run that no one could have expected.
Cloud9 right now on form. This is an incredible performance for them. Stewie again. People have been saying it, that they're building this Stewart addition, and look at this as he goes in. Automatic gets one.
Brazilians are some of the most passionate fans you'll find in all of CSGO. So when the ESL Pro League Season 4 finals took place in Sao Paulo, it felt like SK Gaming were destined to take the title. And despite topping the NA League ladder, C9 were certainly not the team anyone predicted to challenge them. At number 7, the boys from NA take on an SK Gaming backed by the entire arena. After dropping the first map in a close overtime, it seemed like Choke 9 all over again. But C9 were able to defy the crowd and, in the next 2 maps, ease past SK on their home turf, turning the venue into a library.
Now, normally the crowd erupts when a team wins a tournament, but it's quite a hollow victory there considering the atmosphere.
It's besting SK on home soil. There's no sweeter a victory than that.
China though does have a real opportunity here. Goes for a quick reload. Just about has time for that. As in comes both of NIP's player. No! Kashanda! How does he get that one?
Ninjas in Pajamas may have always been a household name in CSGO, but few outside of the CIS region had ever heard of Vega Squadron. So for our number 6 spot, when these two teams squared up at the ELEAGUE Major Atlanta 2017 qualifier, on a map the Ninjas were known to perform on, Vega's chances were, quite simply, written off.
And one of their maps was Cash. That was their best map. They became known.
But a CIS team upsetting NIP wasn't unheard of. Some even joked that NIP should be worried about facing Vega, and they were right.
And it is looking worse and worse. It's just 6 now against 5 players for Vega Squadron. And it's all over. Vega Squadron will eliminate NIP.
4 of the NIP players had been at every single major in the history of Counter-Strike.
In the end, while Vega didn't make it to the major, their win on Cash meant that for the first time in CSGO history, NIP would not be attending a major championship.
On the bomb already. Kits for Steel. Kits for Steel, who's the one with 1 HP. Getting closer for Zeus. He finds him and he backs away. Kit will be picked up by Boltz. But Zeus is going to sit on top of it. This will be the round. It's going to explode. It's going to be done. Boltz can get all the kills he likes. Gambit will get their 13th round.
I am not going to give up before I win a motherfucking major. These words from veteran in-game leader Zeus would turn out to be prophetic a year after he tweeted them, with an unlikely team backing him, Gambit eSports. It was at the PGL Major Krakow 2017 that the Cinderella story would take shape for our 5th spot on this list. No one expected this CIS roster to contend for a major championship, let alone go the distance and win one. It was Zeus and Gambit versus the world. Gambit's round-robin score was impressive, but it was in the semis where they'd face Astralis in the hardest match of their careers.
Very much looking forward to this one. This is, I think, the biggest test maybe for Gambit of their career.
A dangerous position. Device knows to look out for it. Misses the flick shot, and Gambit have done the unthinkable. They will be in the major final finals!
The grand final saw underdog against underdog with the unexpected matchup of Gambit against Immortals, but it was Zeus, Doja, Hobbit, Adren, and Mo who would triumph.
An unlikely final, but worthy of every round. What a performance from all 10 players.
Guys, I just want to say that just believe your dream, follow your dream, and just work a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you a lot.
My Guardian, or does he? Because Guardian nailed it. Oh my God, get right. That is old school as well. What a spray.
Some teams have that special place where no matter how badly they're doing elsewhere, they just always seem to step up and perform. For Ninjas in Pajamas, that place is Oakland. And for our fourth spot on the list, we have a serious case of nip magic. Towards the end of 2016, NIP's performance was questionable. SK Gaming, on the other hand, were at the top of the CSGO world. But even after going down 16-4 in the first map of the IEM Grand Final against the Brazilians, the Ninjas pulled through in spectacular fashion.
NIP will take down SK on the return of Pin.
2017 was another year of lackluster performances for NIP. In spite of that, the Swedes managed to find their way back to the grand final at IEM Oakland 2017.
It was the finals last year on this very stage that NIP took down SK. It's the semifinals this year, and the champions will return. NIP 16-11, 2-1 over SK, back to the finals of IEM.
The defending champions have done it. What a performance there.
In a final that gave us all a sense of deja vu, NIP found themselves in an unfavorable matchup against another top team, FaZe Clan. After an absolute marathon of a series, Ninjas in Pajamas successfully defended their Oakland title, making them unlikely but lovable two-time champs.
A best of 5 against the best in the world. And NIP go back-to-back in Oakland. On this stage last year, on this stage again. With Threat on board, and this man to carry them, NIP!
NIP returning to taking the world on in Counter-Strike. They fell from grace, but they do return, and they return in full force.
I love. Here he comes once again. The first base is Adren. He's going to hit the ground there as Colten. Oh! What? A jumping double from Colten! What is going on right now? How does he do this? Colten saved Luminosity with the all play. Unthinkable scenes there on the B apartments. They needed a huge play, but that was something I'm never going to see ever again.
Although the now decorated Brazilian core of Fallen, Coldzera, and Fur is one of the most successful in Counter-Strike history, it wasn't always so. There was a time when the legends had to prove themselves, and that's exactly what they did in our number 3 entry.
And Luminosity will find themselves in the grand finals against Na'Vi.
Luminosity Gaming were on the rise at the start of 2016, and people were starting to notice Brazilian CS. But in the past, the Ukrainian squad had often come out on top. So when the boys from Brazil faced off against the back-to-back major finalists, Na'Vi seemed destined to finally win their first major title at MLG Columbus and deny LG. With wins over Virtus.pro and Team Liquid to reach the final, many thought that would be the end of their tale. But after a close overtime on their map pick of Mirage, LG managed to edge out the win.
There's her picking it up, and Luminosity winning on Mirage.
It was then on Navi's map pick of Overpass that the Brazilians would truly show their dominance.
Guardian versus Taco, it may just be destined to be, and it's Luminosity winning their first major championship.
Luminosity made history by becoming the first non-European major champions, and after a rebrand shortly after, they would go on to win the next CSGO major, establishing an era of Brazilian dominance.
Everyone said we couldn't do it, everyone said we didn't have the talent. And we did it way different than everyone else in the world. That's how I want us to be remembered.
0-6, they're trailing, and it's Pistols here, along with the Bison AWP. Zipic's getting caught, and Tarek, what is that? That spray transfer, so sick.
Taking the runner-up spot on our list is the ELEAGUE Season 2 Grand Final, which was truly a David versus Goliath scenario. Optic versus Astralis. Nobody believed that Optic would even make it to the final. Even after taking down Fnatic to qualify for the playoffs, the NA team was frankly a non-factor.
FaZe is going to beat Optic tonight. Personally, I think we should beat Optic every day in a week.
I think the semi-final could be easy for us.
A win over fellow underdogs mousesports was within reason. Defeating FaZe Clan could have been a fluke.
Optic secure the spot over their longtime rivals FaZe Clan for the grand finals up against Astralis, the Danish team. It's happening.
But against Astralis, surely Optic had no chance, right? Wrong. After falling to the Danes on train, Rush, Naf, and the rest of the NA squad shocked the CSGO world when they did the impossible and beat the future major champions over the next 2 maps.
Ladies and gentlemen, Optic Gaming, your winners of ELEAGUE Season 2. I am just blown away. A mixed group and a really determined one as well. The support was here. You see the owner of Optic right in front cheering the whole way through. This is a Cinderella story like we've almost never seen it before.
Take it down. Tarek is not done with this major yet. Here it is, Tarek! They stay alive for one more round.
I still can't believe this one. Can anyone? Picking up the torch that Liquid left behind, Cloud9 made it to the ELEAGUE Boston Major Grand Finals and claimed a championship for North America on home soil. The first ever, and first on our list of CSGO underdog moments.
That is the most insane way to win a major. It could hardly have been more difficult. They weren't the favorites, they were the underdogs. They were a heavy underdogs, but they did it for North America. Skadoodles won the major!
After immediately going down 0-2 in the new Legends stage, Cloud9 had to win 3 consecutive matches to keep their major dreams alive. Squeezing into the playoffs, the NA team made their way through to the grand final, with wins over French super team G2 eSports and Brazilian rivals SK Gaming.
And Cloud9 are in the grand finals of a major tournament. Nobody saw this coming.
The final boss, FaZe Clan, awaited them.
The juggernauts of the game, FaZe Clan!
It's hard to exaggerate just how incredibly favored FaZe was in this matchup. But Cloud9's fans never stopped believing, and North America's heroes would not let their story end there. Even after a close defeat on Mirage, C9 defied the Choke9 curse and caught up by winning Overpass, taking it to a deciding map of Inferno.
Boston makes a noise in this bitch!
Every single fan of NACS should know what happened next.
Stewie's on his own, but look at the time! Look at the time, there's 7 seconds of got the bomb! They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play! Stewie's won the round! We're going to overtime!
Cloud9 have done it! How have they done that?
If he can occupy their attention long enough, his teammates can make the play. Just by staying there.
He's a threat! Oh my goodness! Skadoodle does it with automatic!
In this position before, he cannot miss a single shot. Guardian waits patiently as Cloud9 sets the push up.
Oh, it's happened! They made it work! Cloud9 are your ELEAGUE Major champions!
I'm not crying, you're crying, stop.
Well guys, that's our list. Now look, if you do disagree with it and you decide to post a well-written, well-thought-out, grammatically correct argument in the comment section, well, you're the real underdog. Thanks for watching. If you want more great content just like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.